What's going on YouTube? This is Rybo back at the bench, and this time I've got another cut or carry. Today looking at a flashlight. This is the Reylight Pineapple Mini Tie Smooth version. Kind of a mouthful there, but Reylight Pineapple, very popular light that I have not ever tried before, so I wanted to try this one when I saw it pop up. This is the mini version, titanium, and typically they have the kind of pineapple-y looking body, but this is the smooth version. So kind of a quick update on me. I've been kind of out of it recently. We've had some trips and whatnot, but also been out of commission a little bit. I got attacked by a ton of yellow jackets when I was out with my kids and my wife, and I got hit pretty hard. So I was out for a little bit. Pretty scary situation, but all is good. Just a reminder to you, if you like to hike and be in the woods and do all that kind of thing, please pack Benadryl, please get an EpiPen. I did not have either, and it was almost really bad. So please do that. Okay, so let's look at the Reylight Pineapple Mini Tie. So a couple things about this just to go over if you're not familiar with this light, because I was not. So this is about 50 bucks. Reylight, very popular EDC brand, and this one looks a little bit unlike their other stuff. Again, their other stuff kind of has a fairly distinctive body design, but this is a smooth tie version. These run on a single AAA battery that I can show you. This one is the version that comes with the light. It is rechargeable and it's a little bit more powerful, the LI10440. This is rechargeable if you have, the whatever you call it, the recharging thing that goes in the wall. You know what I'm talking about. But it can also just run on a single AAA battery, which is good. I believe 90 lumens on a regular AAA battery, up to 240 on this special battery. And it has, this is a push button, so it's just a tail switch. I'll talk a little bit about kind of how it cycles through. Has that spot back there for a tritium tube, which is not my thing and not something I'm super familiar with. And then it has a very complex, and I guess this is a Reylight thing. Again, I'm not super familiar with the brand, but kind of a complex programming thing that you can do if you want to change things. I looked at the instructions and really had no desire to mess with it. So that will not be in this video. The way that you work this light, obviously tail switch at the back, which turns it on. You can see pretty low light, but the way it works is you can cycle through the beams with a double tap. I think it has maybe 4. Yeah, so that's I think the next one will be so 1, 2, 3, 4. And so you have 4 different modes there, and you can cycle through those. It does default to the lowest version, and I'm assuming you can change that if you go through the reprogramming, but by default it's going to be that. And when you turn it off and then you turn it back on, it's there. If I were to cycle through this, so I'm going to go to a higher beam, I'm going to turn that off, give it a second, turn it back on, it's going to go back to that lower beam. Also, I was working with dye, an aniline dye earlier, mixed it up, and I was working with something in the garage, and so I apparently just got it all in there, and I haven't been able to wash it out because it's a super heavy dye. So sorry about that. But it will default back to the lowest mode there. Okay, so enough about kind of just the flashlight in general. Let me go ahead and do a size comparison, and then I will get into my likes and dislikes. Obviously, the easiest comp is the Streamlight Micro Stream, and I'll be talking a lot about that in this video. They are visually very similar, very similar in size, utility, all of that. And then just the other light that I carry, the JetBeam RT01. I really want to pick up the Raptor, the new version, and get the tail extender and try all that stuff, but haven't been able to. Anyway, the best comp is this, obviously right here, for a number of reasons: price, utility, all that. And so this is the one I'll be comparing it to. All right, let's talk about the likes and dislikes of the mini Thai pineapple. So first of all, likes, overall size. I mean, I'm a big fan of the micro stream, so this size really appeals to me. I think it's very, very lightweight, even with the battery in it. Aesthetically, I think it's a really nice looking light. I like the raw version a lot better than kind of the smooth shiny, but I still think this is a very good looking light. So I think that's really great. And then this clip is really, really great. And especially if you compare it to something like the Micro Stream, which is a great clip in and of itself. This gives you a lot more room. It's a bigger clip. I find this clip to be really, really nice, getting it in and out of the pocket and making it, definitely more carryable. The other thing I really like about the clip is this right here. So a lot of lights have a version of this where you have this kind of pressure thing where you can, pop it off and pop it back on. I've always, since I was a kid, I can remember finding these just very difficult and a little bit nerve-wracking to take on and put off because it's all force, and pressure based. Some like the jet beam here have hardware that you can unscrew or whatever. This I really love because you don't have to have any extra screwdrivers or anything like that around, and you can very quickly convert this to something that's a little bit more sleek if you need to. I don't know why you would, but I think the pocket clip is really great, and I think the mechanism for taking it on and off is also great. And apparently I've just unscrewed all of that. So maybe I should not fuss with this on camera. I think I got myself in trouble with that earlier on the last video I did. Let's see. Get this back on here. Man, looking through the viewfinder is not a fun way to do anything, especially for me, who is not the sharpest knife. Okay. All right. So those are the things that I like. I think it's a great size, utility. I think it looks very nice, and the pocket clip is awesome. Dislikes. Let's get into the dislikes. Number one, the light output has been incredibly underwhelming. The fact that it defaults to the low beam is kind of frustrating, and I do like having a low beam setting, although just the whole idea of having to cycle through really just defeats the purpose to me. If you're in if you're in a dark room and you just need something quick, I can see just wanting the first one to be that low beam. That's totally fine. But typically I'm not. Typically the reason I need a flashlight is not for the low beam. And so I'm cycling through all of this, and then my double tapping turns single tapping, and it's just kind of a frustrating mechanism. And the pineapple this is not the only knife, or not the only light that uses a mechanism like this. I don't find it to be all that awesome. I find it to be fairly frustrating. I don't really want to have to think about how to use my light to get the right light output. But generally, I just have not been super impressed with the light output or the ability, the having to cycle through. I'm also personally just not a fan of this button. I will say it's probably, it's better than the Streamlight, which has some issues. You cannot just do the single depress and have the light on like you can with the MicroStream. You have to actually push it and have it, go all the way and release, whereas the MicroStream can do like this. So that's kind of frustrating too, because I do find myself using that with the MicroStream where I just need to see something really quick. I press it and I don't want to actually turn the light on. I can't do that here. I have to actually turn it on and then turn it back off. So that's not great either. I mentioned having to cycle through the light output and then defaulting to the lowest. Other than that, not a ton of dislikes other than because of those things, it's just not a light that I tend to carry, even though I think the pocket clip is awesome and it's a great size. So, I mean, cut or carry for me, cut. I bought this with the intent to review it, and that is all I intend to do. I haven't really carried it, don't really want to. I think when you put it up against the MicroStream, it's really, really difficult to make a case for something like this, unless it's just more about looks and titanium and all of that. I mean, if you look at these two, this one is less than half the cost. You can get it in a couple different colors, configurations. It runs on the same battery, has essentially the same functionality. The dark earth version, or whatever this one's called, defaults to the higher beam, and you can cycle it to the lower beam. So you have similar functionality. You actually have more functionality with the ability to just depress that button and get your light. Actually, you have more functionality too, because you can do the telescoping thing, which I don't know that anyone ever really does, but it is there. So in general, I am a much bigger fan of the Streamlight. I didn't even mention before that one thing about this light, and particularly with this battery, is that you have to have a recharger in order to recharge this battery, whereas something like the Streamlight, you can pop this out and you can just recharge it with the USB-C cable. The JetBeam has that special battery that has the USB cord in it, or a USB port in it, so you don't have to have the recharger. So to me, this uses a lot of just utility when you have to have a recharger in order to do that. And so when I was looking at these two, and especially looking at the price of these two, I would pick I would rather have two Streamlights than this one all day long. So this is a cut for me, not a light for me, but not to say that I won't review another pineapple at some point. We'd love to hear your comments and maybe why I got this wrong down below. And until next time, I will see you later.